Alright, so I'm hoping this will help clear up inverse functions a little bit. So we're going to do some review of all of it basically. So definition of a function. So remember, a function is a set of ordered pairs where for every x value there is a unique y value. So graphically, remember we use the vertical line test to determine if the graph is a function. So if we look at this graph here, if I start drawing vertical lines, you can see that no matter where I draw this vertical line, I only ever cross my graph once. So this one is a function. However, when I go to this graph, when my parabola ends up on its side, if I start drawing my vertical lines again, you can see even just after drawing one, I have 1, 2 crosses. As soon as I have 2 crosses, that means for this x, there's 2 answers, and we don't want 2 answers. So this is not a function. I will let you determine that last one. So there's one main type of function that is always, one main type of graph that is always a function, and it's said to be one-to-one. That means for every one x, there's only one y. For every one y, there's only one x. So these are always one-to-one functions. These are always pass the vertical line test. So graphically, we can use the horizontal line test to determine if the following functions are one-to-one functions. So horizontal line test, like I said, now we want to go sideways. So if our horizontal line only crosses once, then it's said to be a one-to-one function. So this one is one-to-one. So it is 1, 2, 1. This one is not, because there are repeating values here. There's 2 values of x that give you the same answer in y. So remember, an inverse function, only one-to-one functions have inverse functions. A function and its inverse can be described as the do and the undo function. The function takes a starting value, performs some operation on this value, and creates an output answer. The inverse of this function then takes that output answer, performs some operation on it, and arrives back to the original function starting value. So what that all means, so if I put a domain of f, so let's put the number 0 in there, because it's easy math. So 0. So then I put 0 in my function, and I figure out what my output is. I go 2 times by 0 is 0, minus 3, so my output is negative 3. So then if I find the inverse, if I put the negative 3 in the inverse, it should get me right back to the beginning. So if I find my inverse of this, 2y minus 3, x plus 3, divided by 2 equals my inverse function. So if I put negative 3 plus 3 divided by 2, so negative 3 plus 3 is 0, 0 divided by 2 is 0. So I started here, I performed a function, then I undid that function in order to create. So this is the domain of f prime of x, and this is the range. So again, let's try a bigger number. Let's try 5. So 2 times 5 is 10, minus 3 is 7. And then if I put that output as the input to my domain, so 7 plus 3 is 10. 10 divided by 2 gets me back to 5. So I always get back to where I started. So there's some basics again of one-to-one functions, of inverse functions. And I hope it helps clear things up a little bit.